I like sea creatures. I like the
Wow.
dolphins. And I just was diving in Belize with my beautiful 25-year-old daughter.
Oh, wow.
And we were by ourselves with our guide, with our dive master. And we were in the Hol Chan Marine Preserve. And a dolphin mother and her baby came and played with us. I was with my baby playing with a mommy and her baby dolphin, and they were
Wow.
literally interacting with us and swimming with us. It was
Oh,
unbelievable.
that's like a
Wow.
special connection. I bet you'll never forget that feeling.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CayVin Universe. Thanks for joining the show today and hanging out with us. If you're new, welcome. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get to know us more. And if you're joining, thanks again for hanging out with us. And be sure to let us know something about you. Send in those questions and
Yes.
submissions. You can send them on our social media at CayVin Universe. You can also send them at CayVinPod@gmail.com. Also, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/CayVin Universe. Cheapest Patreon in the game. Get some bonus content, some uncensored content, and then our bonus episode, CayVin Universe Raw.
Heck yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be the conversation.
No pun intended.
Yeah,
with the
exactly. Yeah,
rawness.
exactly. But it's gonna bring up a lot of raw topics, which may, be induced to
Which may be
drinking.
literal.
Yeah, exactly. So check that out. People are gonna be releasing that this week. But today we had a very good episode, wouldn't you say?
Yes, whoa, baby. Yes, we did. So we had an interview with Susan Bratton. She has published, so she's an intimacy expert, has published over 34 books, has been featured in the New York Times, on the Today Show. So just a really, really fun conversation
really
in
was.
talking about, a wide variety of things: relationships, sex, lovemaking, anything that has to do with that intimacy.
Right. It's gonna be a very sex-related
Yes.
episode. So little but
Not safe for work episode.
Yeah,
This
but
is-
if you've listened to our podcast before, we
Yeah.
talk all kinds of shit like this. So
Yeah.
this is was a perfect guest for us.
It really
and, that's
was. Mm-hmm.
why the conversation went a little long, and I hope to have her on again for a longer conversation and really dig into some of these topics. So yeah, you're gonna hear some stuff about our sex life. People know you want to hear it, so here it goes.
Yeah. All right, welcome everybody. So today on our show we have Susan Bratton. Susan, hello. How are you doing today?
Hi, Caylin. Hi, Vinny. I am
Hi.
so good. I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah,
I've got
that's
my I've got my green juice. I
Ooh.
love these. I try to drink one of these green juices every day. So I
Wow.
got my green juice and I got my Caylin Vinny going on. And I am feeling good.
Oh
and I
my
had a
gosh,
great
that's
day.
awesome. I just
and
love
I'm
your energy already. It's so fun. So I guess if you just want to go ahead and tell like the audience a little bit about what you do, what you specialize
Yeah, sure. Oh, I am the luckiest woman in the world because I made up my career. I am an intimacy expert to millions. That's my title.
in. Yeah.
And essentially, what I do is I write passionate lovemaking techniques. I write sex techniques and ideas for having fun in the bedroom or in lots of places.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that people love about me, my friends, my family, is that I'm really, really good at coming up with ideas that are fun.
Okay.
Like basically, you just hang on to Susan Bratton and ride my ride. I just always come up with some really, really good things. And I specifically do that for lovers. So one of the things that I wrote last summer was Come With Me, the 20 kinds of orgasms that the male and female body can have, and all the different 20 ways you can have orgasms and how to do them.
Wow.
Because most people have maybe, guys think they have one, they don't, they have 20, and women think they have a couple, but they don't know about all of them. So I did that, and I've written over 35 books and programs on all kinds of things, love, sex, relationship, everything from relationship magic to dirty talk to the Steamy Sex Ed video collection, which is a product that I created that has 8 videos that teach over 200 passionate lovemaking techniques.
Wow.
Revive Her Drive for men in relationship whose wives don't want to have enough sex with them and they're unhappy. The Seduction Trilogy is something that I published. I've published the work of other people as well as written my own books and programs. When I find something really, really, really good, I often will try to license it and market it for the content creator because most content creators don't have a team of internet engineers working for them like I do. I'm really lucky.
Exactly.
Yes.
So basically what I do is I just have sex, think about it, and then write about it and teach people the nuances and ideas for co-creating more pleasure and connection.
Yeah.
And my brand, my style, my niche is primarily heterosexual monogamous partners, like a guy and a girl, a dude and his lady,
Right.
and people who are in long-term relationships. That's where I'm really good, is at like keeping the spark alive.
Right.
Right, of course. And I feel like everybody always tries to do that, think of different ways. So
Yes.
you are right when you said you're the luckiest woman in the world. It
Yeah.
sounds like a really fun job.
Yeah.
My research
Have
is
sex and write
awesome.
about it. I love that.
Yeah, and well, one thing that brings it up right away is like you said, keeping that spark. And Caylin and I have been together for about 6 years now, but one of the 6 years we did spend long distance. We would still try to, and we talked about this on the show before, we do believe in long distance relationships could work, but the key was to at least see each other once a month to kind of,
To have that physical connection.
to have
too.
that physical connection, right? So do you think, like, that would be my question right off the bat, like, do you think in that sense long distance relationships could work? Do you think that something like that does have to rely on a physical connection, basically, like I said, every month? And I think last time on the podcast I said maybe 3 months max, but you do need that physical connection to see each other when you're in that long term relation or long distance relationship.
Yes.
So do you believe in that as well?
Well, I think there are some people that are happy with arm's length and that don't necessarily need physical intimacy, but they like the intimacy of the mind. And so I think there are outlier cases, but all of sex is this giant bell curve. There's people at the one end and there's people at the other end, and there's most people in the middle. It's just kind of like that. That's how humans are.
Right.
And so most people on the bell curve, they need the physical, but there's some people on the edge cases who are like, I'm perfectly happy having a long distance, online relationship where I never even see the person and I'm content.
Right.
So I don't put it out as not a possibility, but I wouldn't say it's the norm.
Right. Okay.
Right.
See, so that's a great way to look at it too.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in today's, like we said, with technology and all that. Yes, that is. And actually, we were just talking about that before with like VR and things, that if people that are getting into the metaverse and like those VR worlds, they can possibly have relationships in those worlds and basically just meet and hang out together in those virtual worlds.
Yes.
So that might be something that we're gonna be asking about in like
for sure
10 years or so.
Yes.
I agree. I
One
think
thing
that's a
noticed,
really interesting thing.
One thing I noticed on your profile was sexual biohacking, and I didn't really know what that was when I came across it. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, biohacking is basically, it came from the anti-aging and longevity world. And what biohackers do is they try to have an optimally performing mind and body. So they want to be as young feeling, as energetic as possible, as healthy as possible, and not just live long, but have a long health span. Right. And I've essentially applied that concept, and you guys are too young to worry about this so far, but I've applied that concept because I'm 60. So I'm like granny.
Oh, wow.
There's no way.
There's no way
I'm
you're
not,
60.
I'm not just saying that to be nice, like,
No.
the Southern way,
So
but
sweet.
no, there's no way.
Oh my gosh.
I guess my chronological age is 60, but my biological age is 43.
Oh,
According
wow.
to some genetic testing I just did from a company called True Diagnostics. They essentially measure your health through your genetic expression, and they tell you how healthy you are. And it's interesting too, because there's kind of 4 quadrants to having a long health span. One is, the foundation is metabolic syndrome. You have to have a slim belly. When your belly starts growing, bless you. When your belly starts growing, that's what starts to erode your health span, which is living a long, healthy life. Not just a long life, but a healthy long life. That's the health span. But then there's grip strength, how strong your hands are. It's really important to keep using your hands. Like today in the gym, I deadlifted 2 kettlebells 80 pounds worth of kettlebells.
Oh, wow.
And they're heavy and I have to hold them, and I do goblet squats and push them in the air and things. And that's very important. Another thing is, of course, cognitive function. You can tell when you start slowing down. So you can do things like take nootropics, which are essentially supplements that feed the brain and help you with focus and concentration. The other thing is balance, standing on one leg. That's something that you really want to focus on. A lot of people talk about functional health, and they talk about being able to get up and down off the floor without using your hands, or hoisting yourself up on a piece of furniture or things like that. That's very important, that functional ability, the flexibility. But another really important thing is balance, being able to stand on one leg and hit throw a heavy ball against the wall. Like, you have to work your way up to that and then maintain that. And then the fourth thing is facial aging, which has a lot to do with skin quality. So facial aging, do you look 10 years younger than the people your age, 10 years older than the people your age? I just lost a friend to a heart attack who was 50 years old, and he looked like my grandfather. Like, he looked old. Wow. He just was not a healthy guy. And he was gray, he was portly, he drank a lot of beer. Everyone at his funeral talked about all the Guinness he drank. And I'm not against drinking. I mean, at all. I'm happy. I enjoy my wine, and I have a cocktail now and then and all that stuff. But it is interesting what keeps you young. And then in sexual so that's kind of biohacking, is keeping all those attributes, those facets of your health, working by doing the things that really help you have good cellular energy. Your mitochondria are efficient, your cognitive function is working, you feel alive and excited. But sexual biohacking is, how is your erectile function? Do you have delayed ejaculation? Do you have sensation loss? Are you struggling to orgasm? Is sex painful for you as a woman? Do you suffer from incontinence? Is your vaginal tissue thinning? Are you having struggles to a climax? Is your libido suppressed? You want to want sex, but you don't. These are the sexual biohacking things. And in that case, and I also include hair and skin in that too. And oral care, because if you don't have a nice healthy mouth, who's going to want to make out with it, right? And when you're all wrinkled and grizzled and you haven't taken care of yourself, then you look older. You're not as attractive. You don't feel as attractive when your body isn't making you feel attractive. So these are sexual biohacking things. And I do a lot with red light therapy for stimulating mitochondrial growth, so that you can reverse the vaginal atrophy. So you can do things like using penis pumps to bring more blood into the penis, so that you fill it frequently with as much blood as it can hold, which keeps the blood carrying capacity up there. That's called enhancement. There's also enlargement. You can not only reverse the shrinkage that comes with aging, your penis gets smaller as you age, which is a bummer. Oh no. But you can actually pump it with a vacuum erection device, a good one. There's a lot of Chinese novelty items out there that aren't effective, but the product I recommend is something called the Whopper. You can Google it. Oh, nice. It will actually enlarge your penis, make it girthier. It's so funny. There's a lot of guys out there that have penises that are not proportioned particularly well. There's some guys that have a nice straight penis, but it's super skinny. There's other guys that have like a little stubby fatty. There's other guys that have like a super small base that goes out, and there's a giant head. Like that mushroom tip. Like the mushrooms behind you. And exactly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not sure.
Tons of curves.
Yeah, being a guy, I've always was told that the curve was basically, because as a guy, I can say guys masturbate almost, every at least multiple times a week, but I've always heard it was the direction that you do it. Okay, yeah, see, that was a myth.
It's really about there's a sheath that goes around the penis, under the skin and over the spongy tissue, and it's called the tunica albuginea. And it can have anomalies in the way that tissue has formed that give the penis a curvature. Okay. So that's actually what makes the penis curve, or rough sex that breaks a penis, which is why with the guys with the skinny bases, I'm always like, you need to shore that shit up, dude.
Uh-oh.
Because some girl's going to ride her cowgirl on that and break it. I mean, that's
Oh
the
my God, it
most
sounds so
Yes.
painful.
common.
Well,
It's the
I mean,
most
that's
common
why
thing,
I mean,
Caylin.
honestly, I don't like reverse because that's the most common I've heard. So
You
like
worry.
we've only tried that a
Yeah.
few times in
It's
the
scary.
years we've been together. But I mean, we're up in every other ones. But yes,
Yes.
I've always been, as a guy, I've always been worried about, that, I've seen, sex send me to the ER and things like
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be careful. There's a lot
Yeah.
of penile fractures. And the fracture is actually, there's no bone in the penis, but that tunica albuginea, it breaks. And it's like having like an MCL tear where it's like cellophane, it stretches and it never goes back. And then it creates a curvature. And over time, that curvature can turn into something called Peyronie's disease. And it can get quite pronounced to the point
I've
where
seen those
no
commercials.
penetration is even possible.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful.
So what
So
kind
I
of,
like that.
like I know you said certain like rough intercourse and things like that,
Yeah.
but what like is there any like preventatives, like you're saying, like with pumps and stuff that guys can do to maybe prevent that in the long run? Because I do know too, I mean, or I've heard that it happens more the older you are.
I'm not sure if it happens the older you are. I actually think that it happes more to younger men who are still kind of new to sex and don't realize that they can break their dick, and
Okay.
girls that are boisterous and jump up and down.
Oh.
I actually think a lot, like one friend I have that I know, his girlfriend grabbed his penis so hard one day when she was mad at him that when he gets erect, it gets erect and from the bottom to the middle and from the middle to the end, but the middle doesn't get erect until the very end of his penis filling with blood. It's like a little accordion break in there.
Cause she
So it's like kind of like a
grabbed
like
it.
an hourglass kind of.
Yeah, like an
Oh,
hourglass.
wow.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he's actually pumping now to try to fix a wound that happened when he was 18.
Whoa.
Ouch.
18.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how old is
But
he
the
now? Do you know?
late 50s.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so it's
I
been
bet that's
basically
been
he's had
bothering.
a broken dick his whole life,
Man.
Literally more
So-
than like half his life.
Ah.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
So there's one topic that I wanted to bring up, and you mentioned in
Yeah.
the beginning. So I really enjoy dirty talk.
Oh yeah.
Oh
And,
God, I wrote the book on it, didn't I?
Yes.
Did you see my
and,
book?
Well, then I can tell you my debate.
Yes.
Because I'm
because-
just,
Okay, good.
I guess I'm. My problem is, I mean, don't get. I mean, I would say our sex is always great.
Yes.
But the main thing that she's particular of is I'm pretty quiet, and
Yeah.
she especially likes dirty talk, and I just think like I just feel awkward doing it, and I just feel
Yeah.
like if I'm like talking dirty, saying like I'm gonna do this or this, it's like I'm already doing it. Why don't I? Might as well do it, versus
Right.
talking about doing it. I don't know. I just would like to.
Yeah. To know maybe how to work on that.
Right.
Or to how
Yeah,
to make it okay.
let me tell you how. Yeah,
Yeah.
super easy. So first of all, I wrote a book called Dirty Talk, and you can get it for free at dirtytalkbook.com. It's
Okay.
not even a paid book. It's a free book. I give away a lot of free things because everybody has to find their sexpert.
Sure,
I'll be
yeah.
right for some people, and for other people, they'll like someone else better. There are other sexperts out there. So dirtytalkbook.com, you download it. It's 5 ways to talk dirty without feeling weird, which is what you're afraid of. Mostly
Literally
what you're
perfect.
afraid of is saying a wrong thing and getting in trouble. So
Right.
Caylin will be like, Vinny, that's disgusting. And then it'll break the mood, and then she won't want to have sex, and then it'll be all bummed. Like
Right.
you're worrying about this,
And
right?
I think and another thing too is my dirty talk is kind of like lame because I'll just like tell her I love you over and over, like
Yeah.
I tell him like one thing that it really that I enjoy is when he like is telling me that he likes it, or if he's doing a specific thing, like tell me how much he enjoys it, and even throw an I love you in there every once in a while, because that just makes me feel good. So
Yeah, so there's a
Yeah.
couple things. First of all, in the Dirty Talk book, I literally tell you what to say, Vinny. I literally have what are called verbatims
Okay.
for all the 5 different types of dirty talk. And that's super helpful because then you can just steal my shit and make it your own.
Right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I hereby bequeath Vinny all my dirty talk.
Oh yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah, see, so yeah, you gave me
Yes.
permission, so now I'm definitely gonna. Can you say that website one more time too for our audience, so we can all
Yeah.
pick up that book?
Yes.
Yep. dirtytalkbook.com.
Right. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
you
good.
said.
That's easy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And let me just give you a couple examples. So I think dirty talk has a like a bad name. And I actually prefer to call it things like worship, adoration, appreciation,
I like worship.
noticing, being observant, telling stories, sharing fantasies. These are moaning.
Right.
These are all verbal outputs that can accelerate your partner's desire and therefore your desire for your partner. And it kind of creates that,
Right.
loop of turn on.
Right.
And here's what's really interesting. So number one thing is that nobody starts out being good at talking dirty. It is a learned skill, like all sex is a learned skill. We can make a baby without too much education, honestly. The stuff we get the education for is the shit we don't need any help with.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so true.
That's true. That's very true.
It's like one more thing we've gotten backward here in the US of A.
Yeah.
But
No, that's great.
most sexual education is, abstinence and contraception and all that,
Yeah.
whatever, that's good. But
Right.
how to have hot sex, we're not taught. So you have to learn it as you go.
Right.
And it's trial and error. And one of the most fun things about doing new things together in bed isn't when it goes perfectly. It's when you just crack each other up because it was something ridiculous. And then those are the things that the stories of your relationship rest
Right.
upon.
Yes.
Those silly old times,
Right.
So number one, it's a learned skill. Practice makes perfect. I remember I dated a guy that had a hearing in he had one bad ear. And I could never remember what the hell ear it was when I was fucking him, right? And he was like, I really need a lot of verbal feedback. I am a guy that needs a ton of verbal feedback and I'm hard of hearing. So can you please talk loud and moan loud? And I'm like, all right, I'll try. And I had always been kind of quiet in bed. I'm the kind of person, I want to tell you something really interesting about lovers. There's 3 kinds. I'll come to this next.
Yes.
But I am not an auditory oriented lover. And he is. So like Caylin, she needs that auditory turn on to
Right.
get herself really going.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that
especially
doesn't,
right before an orgasm too.
Yeah.
she wants to hear you go, that's a girl, come for me. I love it. That's it. Let it go, baby.
Yes.
Come on. Here you go. Just keep coming.
Right.
Doesn't it
Oh
feel
my
good?
goodness.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry. I'm not
It's
going to
already
stop.
working.
That's my girl. You're doing a great job. You're so beautiful. You're so sexy. Come for me, baby. Like that running dialogue will keep her coming and coming, coming.
Right.
So she's an auditory in her turned on state. And when I did this for this guy, it changed my life, Vinny, because all of a sudden I was now very comfortable just moaning and giving him tons of auditory feedback and telling him how good it felt and how sexy he was and how turned on I was and all that stuff. And man, did we have hot sex. He loved it and I loved it. And he was the one that showed me the path to how great being verbal is. Now there's 3 kinds of lovers. There's kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. And you have you have all 3, but you're dominant in one. So there's a good chance that Caylin is dominant in her auditory. My husband is dominant in his auditory. And lately I have been getting so good at telling him super dirty stuff. Lately I've been riding him cowgirl style, where I just lay him down and I get on top of him and I'm making love to him and getting myself off on him while I tell him the dirtiest stories.
That's great.
And
my
he's
gosh.
got a couple of things that I know are his like really dirty fantasies, like the stuff that when he watches porn, which he doesn't watch that much porn, I keep him busy.
Right.
But when he watches porn, these are the kinds of porn that he watches. This is what really gets him off when he watches. This is, his dirty, guilty fantasy kind of stuff. And so I just make stuff up. And when I first started doing it, it was a bit of a struggle for me.
Right.
But now, oh, it is like falling off a log. I mean, oh my God, he has been, just in the last week or so, I just got on this certain angle of dirty stories, and he is in heaven. That guy has wandered around with a spring in his step from those dirty stories. And when we're done, he barely even remembers it. He just remembers how great it was because he's like out of his mind in pleasure. So that's the other thing, is that when you do dirty talk and you're doing the fantasy kind where it's like you're telling them a dirty story, you're telling your partner a dirty story that you know will turn them on, you're just making shit up.
Right. See, that's
here's what you're just making shit up, dude. Just Vinny, just make shit up.
Yeah, see, well, that I guess you said there was 3 types. I guess I'm more visual
auditory.
Yeah, because it's
visual.
I can look at her in a certain outfit, or when she's getting ready for bed, and they just automatically gets
turns
me.
you on.
Right.
You're visual. And so then, Caylin, for Vinny, what would be best is for you to, and these are just some ideas, but wear lingerie, super slutty stripper shoes in bed, do some dirty dancing for him. Have you ever heard of a floor show?
No.
So I love a floor show or like a chair dance, because I would love to be a pole dancer, but I'm almost 6 feet tall. If I was a pole dancer, everyone's heads would be decapitated around me, like by those stripper shoes. I'm like a giant flapping bird. I'm a giant person. I can't spin around a damn pole. But what I can do is I can put my husband in a chair, and I can wiggle my boobies in front of him, and I can wiggle my ass in his lap, and I can touch my body in front of him, or I can sit myself down on the bed and I can put my legs up in the air, right? So I can be doing like all this stuff, right? All these things.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Right? So that's really easy to do. And that gives your guy that kind of visual turn on that he's looking for.
Yes.
And then he's going to tell you dirty, dirty stories and tell you how much he adores you and how sexy you are. And you're going to love that. And then you're going to be feeding each other your number one dominant sexual, whatever that would be called, preference or something, I guess is what I would call it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. But that kind of brings up something in my head about the main topic. That primal instinct when it comes to lovemaking.
Yes.
Do you think that that's just something like, I don't know, because I really like, I was telling her the other day, this is something, maybe another fun question, maybe off topic, but is Doggy Style my favorite position because that's the primalness in me? I mean, we did our 23andMe. I found out I'm 3% caveman. So it's something like that. Like what are your thoughts on our primalness when it comes to, sexual activity?
Well, I actually think that sex positions are in great part based on body dynamics.
Okay.
What feels good to the two of you? So it could be, Vinny, that it just feels very good in that position with Caylin. Or it could be something like, with Doggy, for a lot of guys, they're turned on by a woman's back and her derriere, and they like the visual of that.
Yes.
I dated a guy once who loved a strong back. He loved to see the muscles rippling in my back when he made love to me from behind. So I do think it's partly the visual and partly the feeling.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
you do have to think about
really
you have to think about the length of your thighs.
Right.
Your thighs have to kind of be about the same length for Doggy to work well, unless you're going to bend her over a bed or what have you. It really is about lengths.
And no, that does sum it up that I am more visual, because that's the best part of it is the visual.
Yeah.
Looking at her curves and her big hips and things like that. Yeah. That's great. That's really great. Did you have any closing questions?
Any closing questions? I don't know. I don't think so. I think the only thing we were just going to be left off is like if there's any like plugs that you want to do, anything that you like, if you have.
Yeah, you want to promote your social media,
promote anything
website,
that you may
all
have,
your books. That we're definitely going to be checking out.
Yes.
If you want to go ahead and.
Sure. Well, and I'm happy to give you any and all of my programs. So just let me know. Send me an email that I can forward to one of my team members, and we'll get you all set up with everything, free access to everything. I'd recommend that you two try some of our orgasm techniques, such as female liquid orgasm, which is for women to have female ejaculatory orgasms. That's really fun. You might like to become a multi-orgasmic man, Vinny, and learn how to have full body orgasms rather than just ejaculatory orgasms.
Okay.
We have Expand Her Orgasm Tonight, which is a clitoral stroking technique that kind of goes beyond just the yoni massage and into an actual orgasmic stroke. That's incredible. My husband and I have had that practice for almost 20 years now that we've been doing that. I'm going to have a date with him tonight, and we're going to do that.
Great.
So things like that are really, really nice. You can find out about me, all my books, all my free things, all my programs at SusanBratton.com. If you go there, there's a page that's, I think, called products, and it links to all my stuff, free and paid. And there's like 30 free things on that page. And then I like it when people follow me on Instagram. I think that's always fun because people can slide into my DMs and ask me questions really easily that way.
Oh, yes, for sure.
And I have a sex tips newsletter that goes out 5 days a week with free sex tips and some of our paid programs, techniques from some of our paid programs. And that you can get at personallifemedia.com. And personallifemedia.com has a search box on it. And when you search anything about sex, you'll see I've written, 5,000 articles on there over the last 15 years. So it's like an encyclopedia of great sex techniques.
Perfect.
So those are a few options for your listeners. People are at all different levels sexually. And so it's really just about me being available to meet you wherever you are and help you move forward, because our sexuality is a lifelong gift. If we keep fueling it and feeding it, it just keeps giving back to us.
Right. Wow, that's perfect.
Yeah, that is perfect. And
I love that.
Yeah, we definitely
enjoyed our conversation with you today.
Yes, and we have I would say we do already have an active sex life, but this definitely is opening up like a whole nother layer and avenue, I guess you could say, to this. So we would definitely love to have you on again, talk more deeper into that next time. Maybe I'll let you know more, about reading your books and trying out that yogurt. So I'm looking forward to that too.
I'll send that to you right after the podcast. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to meet you both.
Yes, it was so nice to talk with you, and hopefully we can have you on again soon.
Happy to do it.
All righty.
Okay,
All right,
perfect.
bye-bye.
I hope you have a good evening.
Okay.
Bye.